I've been brought in with HR to lay people off. If you've ever been involved in a layoff, sometimes you go home and you just cry. You know that you are impacting people's livelihood.
Welcome to the She's So Sweet podcast, where we interview accomplished women who have worked their way to the C-suite. I'm your host, Kristi Faltorusso, Chief Customer Officer and award-winning customer success executive. I am so thrilled to introduce today's guest, Steph Reck, Chief Revenue Officer at Japhy AI. Hey, Steph, welcome to the show.
Hi, Kristi. Thanks so much for having me today.
All right. Well, let's get very vulnerable here, because I'm sure that we've had, maybe there's some different experiences that we've both had in our professional careers. But I would love if we can spend a couple minutes really talking through like those significant challenges and obstacles that you've faced and how you overcame them.
Some significant challenges are you are hired into a role with certain goals, you get in, and that goalpost is immediately changed. And it's oftentimes changed based on, fear at the board level, inexperience at the CEO's level. I had founders who don't have tough enough skin. They don't have the chops to be a founder, and they don't understand the volatility. They don't understand how we measure success at an early stage startup. And they just want that end goal of hitting revenue, but they don't understand the steps necessary to get there, and that those are all incremental wins, and it takes time. So we can oftentimes get into a position where, again, that goalpost has been moved, and all of a sudden we have to riff 10% of our staff while still hitting our number. So we walk in thinking we have this plan in place that's going to help this company grow, and instead we're helping the company decrease its headcount. Sets the wrong tone. Now you have a lot more work to build trust amongst the staff. All of our numbers have changed now. We have decreased resources, the same number of clients or close to it oftentimes. Now we have to reallocate resources to clients. It puts a lot of pressure on the staff, and we have to be solid buffers so that we can decide what information do they need to be successful and productive in their roles, and where do I insulate them, because it's just not helpful right now.
Did you have an organization that you were at where, like, that specific example you kind of just talked through, like where you had to play that out and manage that coming into the company? What was that like?
I did, and it was tough. I was with a company for about 3 months, and we were notified by corporate that we were going to have to decrease our team size substantially. We were provided a payroll number that we had to reduce. And that meant we looked across our team that was already stretched thin and said, where can we make the least amount of damage? Where can we hit this number? Because we don't have a choice. But where is it going to cause the least amount of damage from a culture perspective, from a client, client resource perspective? And are there other ways that we can help ourselves accomplish our goals? If you've ever been involved in a layoff, sometimes you go home and you just cry, because you know that you are impacting people's livelihood. And you are told that you have a specific script. That is all you get to say. I've been brought in with HR to lay people off, and I have a pit in my stomach, and I'm going to try to get through this conversation without vomiting. It's hard. And all you want to do is protect your staff. They didn't do anything wrong. They've worked very hard. And then I feel a sense of onus to help them find their next role.
Right.
And corporate comes in and tells you, you can't give a recommendation. You can't refer them. You can't talk to them. So you can't reach out to them. And I get to make a decision from, a place of, empathy, that I'll follow some of your corporate guidelines, but there are others that have no basis, and I'm not going to follow those rules because I'm a human who's also been riffed from a company and had to figure it out. And I wholly expect that the people who told me last week that I was doing an amazing job and just keep doing what you're doing and you are integral to this company, who then came and laid me off, I expect that they're going to help me find my next role. That is our responsibility as people leaders in orgs. And this whole stance of, we want to hire someone who's going to commit to, 2 to 5 years at our company, but then as a company, we can come in and riff them at any point without a leg to stand on, without severance or minimal severance, especially in a tough job market. That doesn't sit well with me. So I will try to do everything I can to help staff that have been riffed to find their next role. And it's uncomfortable for them because they just sat across from me on a Zoom meeting where I laid them off. But I hope that they understand that I am given a directive. I don't have a choice in the matter, but how can I help ease this burden that they have now of supporting their family or providing for themselves?
It's so tough. I do talk to a lot of leaders who, especially listen, we've seen this play out over the past couple of years, especially if you're in tech, how many rifts we've had to go through, in some companies, multiple. And so I can't imagine having to do that multiple times. And to your point, it's like, it's just the cold cutoff from these humans who you've built real relationships with and like have become an extension of, I hate to use the word family because I do know that there's a difference between my family and my work, but they become your friends, right? They become like a part of you, and to just be able to cut them off so coldly and to turn your back on them. I'm like you. I that's not something I would be able to do. I think at that point, if that was the mandate from the company and there would be ramifications, I think I'd have to leave as well. Because at that point, it's like, listen, there's a human element to the work that we do, and real leaders care deeply about their people and their success. And to your point, their livelihood. And so under no circumstance would a real leader be able to turn their back on employees that have worked hard for them.
Exactly. Yeah, I take another approach as well with staff. And I tell them it is a whole lot easier for me to promote you or support you in finding your next opportunity that's right for you if you have already established a solid succession plan and communicated that to me, other leaders in the org, and your staff. That opens the door for them to not be fear-based in their role, that somebody might want to take their role. It helps them think longer term. What are my motivators from a professional and a personal perspective? Who do I want to be when I grow up? I help them walk through an exercise that if they could design the perfect role for them, what would that look like? How would they collaborate cross-functionally with others in the org? Is there a totally different role that they've never held that they have had their sights on but been maybe afraid to vocalize or really dream about? What does that look like? And is there an opportunity for me to support them in getting there? And I think when we go about staff development in that manner, that should have a ripple effect down to the people that they mentor in the future